Hi guys, hope you guys are well. Today I was going to make a quick video on this Canon 7D, and today I was going to talk about the settings for aperture, shutter and ISO. Probably the most important things as a photographer you need to navigate through. So my advice to you is you can either put it in AV or TV mode, but put it in manual mode, which gives you all control of all settings. So if I click on this Q button, so on a Canon 7D, you've got this Q button, you've got this pivot button over here, which allows you to pivot through all the various features available to you on this camera. So again, Q button, click on Q button, which is the quickest way of doing it. And you can pivot through various things. If you click on this icon, it will take you to your viewfinder and you can pivot through your focus point. If you half click on it, it will focus in depending on what focus points you've set to your camera. I don't want that. I want to go back to my other viewpoint. So I'm just going to click on this button again. I'm going to click on it again, sorry. And I'm going to click on Q button and then my menu will appear again. So you've got your aperture, shutter, ISO. So the three key things that a camera needs to be controlled in manual mode, in my opinion, are your shutter, your aperture, and your ISO. And those three things are majority of the time located at the top of your camera. With most Canons, even the new ones, they're very similar layouts, but they're most of the times they're kind of touch screen, and you can touch the screen, allowing you to change those features. So I am in manual mode. So to change the shutter, basically click on it, and on this camera, this wheel will allow you to pivot up and down your shutter. Now the disadvantages of this camera is you cannot see a visual of how the shutter is impacting on your shot. But I quite like that, to tell you the truth. It's old school. It's old school photography format, and you know, some people do prefer to do that. You know, if you even got older, little dials on these old, you know, sort of old film cameras. Your aperture is over here. So this one goes down to f40, and it goes all the way up to f22. So if you don't know what aperture is, it's a little tiny hole in the camera that opens and closes. And basically, I don't know why it's the opposite way around. Someone can inbox me on this one. F4.0 is a large opening, and then F22 is a tiny little opening. So it's basically the larger the F number, the smaller the opening. It's basically the opposite way around. You tell me why that is, okay? And always, you know, photographers, some newbie photographers always sort of kind of get that confused. But essentially, what you're trying to do is pivot these two things. So your shutter is basically a little gate in front of your aperture. So the quicker, so if I do it quicker, so if I take it to like 60th of a second or 100th, you know, it's obviously getting slower. But if I take it down, it's quicker, like that. So again, if I go to Q button, so there's no card. If I go to Q button again, and this time decrease it, sorry. So if I decrease it down, now it's slower because it's under a second. So, you know, you want to keep it as high as you want, you know, like if you a general day, normal day in England or anywhere in Europe or in the world, in good light, you're looking between 40 and maybe 100 shutter speed. You know, just flick through those settings. Your f-stop, again, depending on what lens you're using, I would probably say between f4 to maybe f8 or f9, and you pivot through those two things to get the right balance of light going to your camera. Simple as that. Your ISO is the sensitivity of light. So this basically, if you're in low light, the higher it goes, obviously there's more sensitivity of light, so you might get, so the higher the number in very low light, in the dark, you'll get a bit of graininess. And even with this sort of professional camera from back in the days, 12 years ago now probably, the graininess is still quite visible in your shot. So the newer cameras go up to hundreds of thousands. I think they were sort of kind of kicking it as far as they could, and the graininess is less on the newer cameras that, you know, you see around. But obviously, with this old bad boy, it's going to go up to a certain amount, but you can still get pretty decent exposure with limited graininess on this particular model. So I think I've talked through what I was going to say. So shutter, aperture, and ISO were the key 3 features that I was going to discuss in this video. If you've got any questions, please inbox me. I'm happy to respond. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell. If you've got any questions, drop me a line. Thank you all for watching. See you later.